Sorry for the loss today. You had a pretty slow start at the beginning. Do you think he struggled to get back in after that?
A little bit. One thing with going into this game was always going to be difficult with the conditions, and especially with East Fremantle, with a pretty experienced list, we're always going to jump us. And I think at times we were right, but again, just four-quarter effort. Really struggled with that today, and that's something that we're focusing on and going to work on in the next few weeks.
You struggled to hit the scoreboard early on in the game. Is that something that will be talked about during the week?
Potentially, but 1-9 at half time, I think it was. That's excuse me. I think it was 3 goals 5, which is pretty even in these conditions. It can go either way. So for us to sort of still have the same number of scoring shots, I think it's a positive going in. But again, we just had to finish off the game, which we unfortunately weren't able to do.
Your tackling pressure was pretty high today. Is that something that you've been consistently working on?
Yeah, it's always difficult, especially when we had plenty more of the ball, especially in the first half. But tackling pressure is something where we pride ourselves on, and especially with our half forwards coming across and putting that pressure on the back of the stoppages, that's something really important. And if we can get the tackle count up, we know we're doing our part.
It was Griffin Logue's first game back. How are you rating him?
He's done well to come back from a pretty serious injury, but there's always a bit of excitement, especially off the back line, and creates a bit of a spark for us, which we need at times. But he's just enthusiasm and energy, especially around the club, to come forward and defend, especially in games. And when we needed him today, he stood up, which was really a good positive for him.
Stefan Jero was one of the best on ground today. How is he tracking?
He's doing very well. One thing I was very impressed with in his game last week, with just his pressure. Even when we were down and losing by a big margin, he was still working, still pressuring off the back of the stoppage and keeping involved, which is something he really prides himself on. And now he's pretty much fully recovered from his injury, so he's moving on and hopefully putting his name up for AFL selection.
Bennell played more minutes today. How valuable a player is he?
You can just see from every time he touches the ball, he's got the opportunity to do something pretty specky with it. He's always pretty clean with that sort of thing. So more minutes in him, and if he can get through as many games as possible, then who knows what he can do.
What was it like playing in front of a pretty loud East Fremantle crowd today?
Yeah, they're always a bit loud here at Shark Park, but it's another thing that just got to put to the back of the mind and move on. Always an atmosphere, and hopefully next home game down at Peel, we can get a big crowd and replicate the same atmosphere.
You're playing Claremont next week. What are some of the things that will be talked about during the week?
But definitely, we've a little bit of a form slump, especially with the last week against Subiaco. So it's how we respond from that and moving forward. Like again, second half was pretty woeful from us. If we can just reset and rebuild and go from there, it should be a pretty interesting competition. So,
thanks for joining us.
No worries. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks,